At the end of this video, you're going to know the exact step-by-step process you need to take to launch and promote your first nightclub event without having to spend a single dollar upfront. I've launched plenty of events. A lot of the early ones failed. I've seen some really successful ones. I own a digital advertising agency that does the advertising for major music festivals, major nightclub events, major venues.
When do you start thinking about ads?
Once you start going above 250, you should start considering ads.
Check this out right here.
Firstly, to set expectations. The purpose of this first event, your first event, is literally just to get content to promote the next event. Best case scenario, like an outstanding outcome is you make some money after paying, or you just break even after paying the DJs and the photographers and things like that, right? So firstly, we need to come up with the event brand. I want you to come up with a theme before the name. So the theme, let's say for example, the theme is an emo night. The name needs to revolve around that and reflect on that. So come up with the name after you come up with the theme. So easy way to come up with a name is make it a reference to the theme. So let's say for example, you're doing a hip hop event, you would reference or maybe make the name a like niche hip hop title, a niche hip hop lyric that people in your inside audience will understand. To better understand this and the tone of voice, go watch my video, How to Promote Clubs with Any Social Media Platform. Go watch it after this. Note, if you pick a theme associated with alcohol more heavily, you'll get a better venue deal. I'll explain why later, because I actually got in an argument with a university lecturer about this, and I stormed out of the class and then dropped out. So after we've got the theme and the name and we've got our tone of voice, we need to create the logo. Just make one on Canva for now. It's free. I mean, if you wanted to spend $20, you could go on Fiverr and get one done, but we can just make a shitty logo on Canva. When we've got money, we can just change it later, okay? The logo isn't super critical. Just make sure that it's not absolutely shit, okay? Keep it low. Step 3, decide on capacity. So we want to keep it low to start. It looks way better in the content. And as I said, the purpose of this first event is to just get content to promote the next event. Keep it low. It looks better in content to be a small space with lots of people than a large space with lots of empty spaces and gaps between them. When you post the photos and the still images and the videos, if there's lots of like empty spaces between patrons, it just looks quieter. Even if it's a huge space, let's say you have a 1,000 cap venue and you got 500 people there, that looks less busy than a 200 cap venue with 150 people there, just because there's less space between warm bodies, right? First event, if you ask me like what's small cap, aim for around like 200, 250. Don't go more than 300. Step 4, build a promoter team. I've got loads of videos on this. So watch my video, 5 ways to build your nightclub promoter team. There's a link there. If you want this document, by the way, DM me on Instagram. My thing's up here. Now, offer them a to be confirmed pay per performance model. Now, we're going to do TBC because you're going to try and get the venue to pitch in. So when we approach the venue, we're going to say, hey, I've got this promoter team ready. I want to incentivize them. Would you be happy with giving them a drink token for every person over 5 or 10 people that comes to the event because of them, right? We're going to get the venue and try and negotiate a decent deal with them. I'm going to get to that in a bit. Cool, that was that. Drink token for every person they bring. 4C, you need a promoter team strong enough to bring at least a third of your capacity. So if you're aiming for 150 people, you need your promoter team to bring at least 50. The next 50 or the last 100, which should be brought from word of mouth and organic traffic and all of your other promotion channels, which we're going to get to in a bit, or just like people that already kind of just like go to that venue, right? I know on this, I've got like videos on this, but hire way more than you think you need, because like really underestimate your team because you're probably way too optimistic right now. I'd want you to adopt a slightly more pessimistic outlook on the performance of your promoters. So if you think they're bringing, if you think someone's going to bring 20 people, they might submit 20 names, but probably like 10 of them are actually going to rock up. So I want you to like cut your expectations in half. And the other thing as well is just hire as many as you can, because if they're on a pay per performance model, if they don't bring anyone, you don't have to pay anything, or the venue doesn't have to pay anything. So if you could get 50 promoters, and if only 10 of them perform, The other 40, like, it doesn't matter. Like, they posted it and stuff like that. You'll get some traffic, but if they just don't perform, that's fine. And I've spoken before that all of your promoters will sit on a normally distributed bell curve. So 50% will be better than the other 50%, but then like 10% will just, like 20% of your promoters will bring 80% of the actual people from the guest list, right? 80-20 principle. So hire way more than you need because only like 20% of them are going to do any results. Step 5, start approaching venues that fit your capacity and vibe and all that stuff. Now, we do this after building a promoter team so they can see you already have momentum. This is ready to go. You've got a brand, you've got a logo, you've got a concept, you've got a team, you've got everything ready. We just need a building with a toilet and a bar, right? Now, try and secure a door bar split deal. What that means is you take the door and the ticket sale revenue, they take all of the bar sale revenue. Now, the reason I said before is if you pick a theme associated with alcohol more heavily, the likelihood of you securing this deal increases. So, for example, I actually got in an argument with a university lecturer about this back when I was in uni, close to a decade ago now, very old. I was studying, the last unit I did was like event marketing, and it was because I was doing information systems and technology beforehand, and I didn't really like it, but I was starting to DJ. I was like, okay, maybe I'll try like event marketing, and I went to the thing, and this lecturer and this tutor had no experience in club promoting, and I was already doing this, and I made this argument that the music theme you pick will influence your spend per head, so the average dollars that a patron at an event or a venue will spend. So let's say, for example, the average patron spends $50 on alcohol. The spend per head is $50, right? If you play like electronic music, like dubstep and drum and bass, the spend per head will be really low because they're all just doing fucking pills and drugs and they're just drinking water, which is free. But if you play music like pop or hip hop and R&B, where it's just like tipsy white girls that want to drink and dance, the spend per head will be higher, and so the venue will be happier with the bar sales revenue, right? So if you pick a music policy that's more heavily associated with drinking, securing this deal is going to be easier. And if you know that, bring that up with them. Like if they say, oh no, we want some with the door, and you're doing a hip hop event, come back and be like, look, we know that our crowd's going to drink. We're doing a hip hop and R&B event. We know the spend per head's going to be high. We're not playing dubstep or drum and bass. I think a door bar split is completely reasonable. Your spend per head is going to be north of $50 at least, right? Whereas if the alternatives, if you do an electronic music like dubstep and drum and bass or something associated with drug use, your spend per head is probably going to be like $20, right? So just twist their arm that way. Now, locking a first date with a venue. Also, I forgot to mention here. Also, see if they can pitch into promoter incentives. So linking back to what I said before. So once you secure the deal, say, hey, I've got this whole team of promoters. I really want to incentivize them. Is there any way you could pitch in? So for example, if a promoter brings more than 10 people, could they get a drink token for every person over the 10th person coming, right? That they could use for the next event later. And then the venue, it's in the venue's best interest to do that because they'll get more people coming through the door. They'll get more people spending over the bar. It's just a win-win. So see if the venue can pitch in that way and just negotiate that deal. Cool. 6, lock in the first date. Now have at least 6 weeks runtime. That's a pretty solid runtime for your first event when it's 200 people. And get content for your first event. Now here's a few ways. I posted an Instagram reel about this just yesterday actually, which talks about this, but there's a couple different ways you can do this. These are my like 3 favorite ways to do it, and all 3 of them are like free. So the first one is repurpose content already on the internet that fits the theme. So for example, I used to run an emo night. What I did to promote the event was I just grabbed famous clips of like emo music videos and made a montage of them. I grabbed clips of like news reports on the TV that talked about this new emo subculture that was popping up with teens and trying to warn their parents about them, right? So find content that's already out there and repurpose it to fit the theme. Second thing you can do, and I've done a video on this before, which you can watch here, it's the secret strategy to promote your first nightclub event, is just throw a private pre-party. So get all your friends together, get all your promoters together. You could either do a house party, or even better, if you've got a good relationship with the venue, ask if you can do it at the venue. That gives you an opportunity to show off the venue, show if it's a really nice venue and things like that, show off the vibe. And if they let you do that, they'll probably pitch in a little bit of alcohol for free. So go try and for that pre-party, get your friends to post it as well. It will start like generating like a little bit of buzz. What's this new event that's popping up? Bring a photographer, bring a videographer, get everyone to start taking photos and videos. And then what they can do is the promoters can do in the lead up to the event, they can use their content that they took on their phones to share on their Instagram stories. Like, oh, here was the private pre-party event that we did. The third thing you can do is start doing skits. Now, my mate Quincy, who produces Drum and Bass as Don Darko, does this really well for his event, Side Quest Sessions. I would encourage you to go check out his stuff there because he has the most ADHD editing ever. But he'll do like skits to promote events. So check that out. If you've got like a funny tone of voice for your event, you can do stuff like that. Number 8, book the DJ. So if you need to save money, DJ yourself later in the night to save money. I say later in the night because early in the night you want to be talking to patrons, and I'm going to get to that in a bit. But only do that if you can actually fucking DJ. It's super important. I'm going to get to that in a bit. Get friends to DJ so they can do it for cheap or free. And on that note, it's not that anyone has to DJ for free. You can pay them after the event with the door sales as long as this is not a free event and you have a revenue strategy in place, right? Just try and get them for like cheaper, but don't completely cheap out. I'm going to get to that too. Number 9, people sometimes ask, should we do door sales? Should we do tickets? Should we do both? Do a ticket/door sales combination. Make it cheap to just get a financial commitment out of people to come. So depending on your currency, like 10 to 15 bucks, something like that, right? And just so you can get a financial commitment out of them. Now, like I said, the purpose of this first event is just to break even with as many people in the room as we can so we can get content to promote the next event. Now, to track promoters' performance from ticket sales as opposed to door sales, just give the promoters a unique discount code so you can track their performance. So if Sally has used code Sally to get 10% off or 50 or some whatever percent off, you can see, okay, Sally brought 10 people, she gets $2 for every person that comes. Come up with the economics yourself. Also, under this, to set expectations, because someone asked in my online community, DM me on Instagram if you want an invite, but how to deal with like the stress of tickets not selling. Just to set expectations and to calm you down a bit. It's mostly going to be door sales, and any of the online ticket sales, like 80% of them are going to happen not even in the last 72 hours, like on the day, like seriously. And this will still happen for like future events. That's just kind of the trend that events are going right now, is that all the ticket sales are last minute, but at least you get some commitment. And then it's mostly going to be door sales, and any ticket sales is going to be like the last day or two. Cool. Now we've got our tickets and all that stuff. Announce the event on your socials with like a 5 to 6 week runtime. Have your promoter team like, share, comment as much as they can, tag their friends, all that stuff. I don't see broadcast channels being utilized nearly as much as they should be on Instagram. So start promoting them to join a broadcast channel in Instagram just so you can start pushing your events out there. Obviously, in the layout, we need to promote the event. So here's a list of activities you can do to organically promote your event. So obviously, keep regularly posting content to stay top of mind. B, this one's a really underutilized one as well. Partner with relevant affiliates. For example, who else in the area, the geographical area for your venue, has an affinity but is not a direct competitor? So, for example, I used to promote Arcade Nightclub. There was a kebab shop up the road called Cosmo's Kebabs. I knew every single patron went to afterwards when they were fucking hammered at like 3 or 4 a.m. in the morning. So I approached Cosmo's Kebabs and went, hey, can we do some kind of deal where if someone has an arcade stamp, they get, I don't know, a couple bucks or discount on their kebab, or they get free chips or something like that. Or we partnered with like a burrito store as well. Also, something to think, what other social clubs or uni clubs would want to come? So is there just a big party university club in town that would want like free entry just for this first event, and that will bring a lot of people? This one's really underutilized as well. What online communities does my ideal patron hang out in? So for example, if you're running a drum and bass event in Perth, you want to be posting about it in the Perth drum and bass community on Facebook, right? Next thing's obviously book the photographer and videographer. Try and get it for cheap or for a friend. Book them for like the peak hour of the night. Now, I've talked about this in a previous video, but have a private pre-party with the promoters and their friends at the venue an hour before open. So watch this secret strategy to promote your first nightclub event, because no one likes coming to an event and being like the first bodies in the door. So at least if you get your promoters and your friends an hour before doors open, it kind of sets the vibe. And when people start coming in, they're like, oh, there's already people here. What the fuck, are we late? It's open an hour early, and the vibe's already set, and they have a really, really good first impression. So that's when doors open. Step 15, capture as much content as you possibly can. Like I said before, the whole purpose of this event is to capture as much content to promote the next event. Because the problem with first events is you don't have content from a previous event to show what it's like. And so we need to capture as much to show you the experience of what it is. Please get a videographer. Video ads perform so much better. Video ads and video posts just perform so much better than still image posts right now in the way social media is going. Now, this is so critical. I was talking to some kid about this on a call. If there's a solid line, get as many photos as you can from different angles. So if you've got a big fuck off line and the photographer takes one photo, now you only have one photo. As soon as you post it, it's burnt. Just get it from like different angles and just wait a couple minutes for the line to kind of reshuffle so it looks different. Get like 20 different photos and then you've got 20 different like potential uses of this photo. It's the same line. It just looks like 20 different unique pieces of content. Now, this is so critical. For the love of God, during the night, meet as many patrons as you possibly can. Hey, how did you find out about us? Like, why did he come? Where are you guys from? Where do you guys go to school? Just start getting feedback from them. Follow each other on Instagram so that when you start posting about it, they know the guy that runs the event. You will always be the strongest promoter for your event if you do this right, because people always want to know the person in charge. It's like when when anyone goes to a bar, they always like saying, "Oh yeah, I know the bartender." They just can't help themselves, right? Oh, let's go here because I know the bartender. Oh, let's go here because I know the promoter. If they know the person running the event, I fucking guarantee you they will just keep coming back every single time. And for the love of God, don't fuck up the music. Have fun.